As usual, I'll be your host for today's event. So today we'll be talking about a topic that I would say is very important to every entrepreneur, to every business owner, how to get financial support for your business. And we're going to be breaking it down, in various ways. We're going to be talking about the pros, the cons, what you should consider, and all of that. And we're going to be looking at grants. We're going to be looking at loans, which should be, the right choice for your business when it comes to getting financial support. But before I go ahead, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. He's someone who I would say is a leading voice when it comes to Africa FinTech revolution, someone who deeply understands, when it comes to financial access, funding, and the rest of them. So our speaker for today is Mr. Adeleke, David Adeleke, and he's the founder of Zia. Did I get that correctly?
You can just pronounce it Z, so you can call it Z Africa.
Z, okay.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
yeah, it's founder of Z, and it's like a cross-continental financial, data infrastructure company powering credit, identity, and financial access for over 1.2 million users across Africa and diaspora. Through Z opening open banking platform, David and his team are helping financial institutions and digital platforms use real-time APIs and consent-driven data to underwrite risks, onboard users, and unlock inclusive financial services at scale. Now expanding into North America, he's spearheading Z's mission to build portable financial identities for African immigrants, enabling them to carry their financial footprint across borders. With over a decade experience in financial engineering, digital inclusion, and product innovation, David has raised multi-million-dollar capital, built cross-border fintech partnership, and refined what global financial inclusion can look like. Now, with that profile, I'm sure nobody will argue with me that he's the perfect person, perfect speaker for today's event. So let's welcome Mr. David Adeleke. It's so nice to have you today. Hi, David.
All right. I'm very good. Thank you very much. So great to be here also. It's an interesting topic, and I'm excited to jump on it right away.
We're also very excited to speak to you today. I know I've done, the whole formal introduction, but just tell us a bit about yourself, something I didn't mention or something I mentioned and you want to say more about.
Okay, so I think you did a good job. You already mentioned everything. Apart from the fact that I think I'm also an ecosystem builder, right? Ecosystem builder in the sense that I kind of lead certain initiatives, mostly on the financial inclusion aspect, right? Across Africa, not just Nigeria, and globally also. So I travel for a living. I don't know. I like telling myself that because the rate at which I travel is quite interesting. So that's just a little fun fact about me. So yeah, just like you said, I'm David Adeleke, but sadly, I don't know how to sing. Actually, in case people are wondering if I'm a musician, I think the answer is no. I'm into the tech space. I'm an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and multi-time founder. So yeah, I think that's all about me. Thank you.
When you joined earlier, I saw David Will Adeleke.
Oh yeah, I had to go and correct that.
Am I going to be speaking to Davido today? But yeah, it's really nice to meet you, and I'm excited for today's conversation. So we'll just get right into it, and I'm sure basically most of the audience that we have today, I'm sure among them we have entrepreneurs, people that want to become entrepreneurs like you, people that are already entrepreneurs, small business owners, and all of that. And today we're generally going to be discussing how they're going to be getting financial support for their business, what to consider, what to look out for, and how to go about it. But before we go, into all of that, our major topic today, we're also looking at, grants and loan. So if you're asked to differentiate between a grant and a loan, what would you say in very simple terms that we can understand?
Okay, so to start with, right, both of them fall under funding, and that's the backbone of every business. wherein it has to do with whether you're making money or you're not making money, how money moves, basically cash flow, right? Then there are two ways to, not two major ways, but two basic ways to raise money, which is either through grants, equity, or loan, right? So just to keep it very simple, two things that there is a clear truth between grant and loan. Grant is a non-repayable, purpose-tied funding, because emphasis on purpose-tied funding, because a lot of people just believe grants is free money. But I'll start with grants is not a free money, even though it looks like a free money, right? And why it looks like a free money is because it's non-repayable, right? So grant is a non-repayable, purpose-freed, purpose-tied funding, right? That has to do with reporting or impact obligation, right? And it has a long application cycle and is always very highly competitive. However, loan on the other hand, it's a repayable capital that comes with interest or covenant or tenure or collateral, right? Or you have to do credit check or whatnot. And it's much faster once the lending company is ready. And it's also flexible depending on different products as against grants. So grants comes with a purpose, right? And it's fixed to that purpose. And it's little to no flexibility is allowed there, unlike loan. So in clear terms, the two different things between grants and loan is grants is non-repayable, loan is repayable. So yeah.
Awesome. That's like very, very clear. But I'm sure, we're also wondering, other people and myself, how can business owners or entrepreneurs come to decide which option is most suitable for them, either a grant or a loan? Which one should they go for? Because I mean, you said grant is not free money. I'm sure a lot of people think that it's free money, but it's not free money. So how do I decide which is suitable for my business? Which one should I go for?
Okay, so basically when it comes to what funding, right, is a question of how to align your funding to your purpose, one, to your timing, two, and also to your cash flow, right? Because you don't want to take cheap money that turns out very, very expensive on the long run, or you want to go for free money that slows you down on the long run. So basically, to get started, right, with the question, which one do you think small business, come again, what's the question again?
How
Like,
can business owners or entrepreneurs, choose the right option? How do they know which is the right option for their business?
okay, so yeah. So basically it's a question of what business are you running? That's one. And two, what do you need funding for? So when it comes to grants, it mostly falls under say for example you are building an impact-driven product, or you're into the impact-driven solution of things. So in that case, grant is one of your best bets, owing to the fact that say for example you are building an initiative and there is no clear revenue path in sign. However, there is a very clear impact sign and insight, right? Then grants is your best bet. So let me just put it into practical terms. Say, for example, I'm building maybe say a product that helps pregnant women, what's it called? Have safe delivery. I'm just like using, okay, don't worry, let me go into the financial space since I'm more in the financial space. I'm building a credit company, and our goal is to offer credits, cheap credits, right, to small and medium businesses. Say, for example, in Africa, because statistically, we know that over 75% to 85% of Africans, right, are small business owners, right? So and we're trying to give them access to credits, because one of the major problems they've been facing is the fact that they are not even financially visible, first of all, in the ecosystem. And second of all, right, they don't even have access, the lending companies don't have access to their data to like service them. So you want to help them by giving them access to credits. So there is the part of where you would need grants. What do you need grants for? Grants, first of all, to drive financial literacy. Because when you're driving financial literacy, right, it's on the long run, helps the ecosystem, it drives impact, it makes people financially aware and financially educated on how to manage their finances. But the question is, what is the clear roadmap to monetize it on the short-term basis? There is not that much because it's an edtech field, right? So in that case, grants would be like a best choice to start with. However, say for example, you're now running your business effectively, and you want to scale up, right? You have a working model. That is only when I tell people or businesses to go for loan. You don't want to go for loan when you are running an idea that you don't even have your product market fit yet. I mean, you can do that, but then you must have even carried out basic research. You must have understand the market. You must have understand where you are going to, or probably you have a collateral that you just wish to waste. Because loan, like I said earlier, it's a repayable capital with interest. So the moment the loan gets into your hand, it starts reading and you'll be paying interest on everything and you have to pay the whole capital back. So you don't want to gamble a money that you borrowed in terms of loan, wherein you want to pump it into a business that you don't even have an existing cash flow. You don't even have your product market fit. You don't even understand how you want to make money from the business. That's going to shoot you in the leg. So what's the major reason on getting loan? Basically, one of the major reasons to get loan is to enable you have cash flow. So cash flow is basically you having working capital to be able to meet up your day-to-day needs, right? So as a founder or as a business owner, you need to understand what exactly is your business doing, first of all, and what do you need? Because literally, when it comes to grants are for specific purposes. And so for people that are trying to look for, okay, what kind of grants do I need to apply for? I think I'm jumping ahead, right? There's something called Article 9 funds, but I think we'll get into that later on. So just to summarize all what I'm saying as regards this question is, for grants, it's if you don't have a clear revenue in sight, you are building an impact-driven solution, you fall under any of the SDG goal, then grant is your best choice to go for. However, if you have an existing business, you want to scale up, you want to expand your business, right? You want to like augment your working capital, you already have cash flow problem, right? Then that's when you go for loan. You don't want to go for loan on just an idea. So that's like the major two difference from on both sides.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that has been broken down. And you mentioned something that part of what I was going to ask in the next question, where people have an idea, you still have an idea, it's just an idea, and then you're already thinking about applying for a loan and stuff like that. And it could be dangerous in the long run and affect you negatively. But to even be more detailed about it, what are the mistakes that you see business owners make when it has to do with funding? So aside, what you've mentioned, when you're differentiating grants and loans, what are other mistakes that you see business owners make when it comes to funding, and how can those mistakes be avoided?
Okay, so I see one of these major mistake, right, with business owner, especially let me start with the grants, right? So you're in a business to make money, right? Or you have your normal business operation. First thing about grants is it looks free, but the price you pay for grant is the time it takes to apply, the limits in flexibility. So you already have your business model. The grants, they already have criteria that they want. But because you as a founder, you want to take the grants because it looks like a free money, you are now leaving your business to go and make your business look like what is not, so it can fit in to get the grants. And in the process, you leave running your business. Maybe the business is already making money. And from there, you lose track of running the business. Why? Because you're chasing grants. And grants takes a lot of time. So it's not all grants that every business owner should jump at. Thankfully, every grant, any credible grant, right, they will outline their process. Say, for example, there is a Tony Elumelu grant that gives 5K to early stage founders, right? And there's no repayments in that. And when you go to the application site, you will see every criteria they want, what they want to see. So first of all, you need to first find the purpose alignment, right? To see if my business matches this grant. So you know that when you're investing your time, your resources, and applying for it and going through the whole process, because trust me, whenever there's one grant, it's not just you that apply. There are thousands, a lot of people. So, and they have different review stage, because every grant also, they want to ensure that whoever they're disbursing the fund to drives maximum impact, that they're giving it to the right set of people, because grant is always limited. They don't have even the Bill Gates grants, there's still limits to people they can give it to, right? And there's a lot of people applying. So you don't want to waste your time chasing grants, now forgetting the core business, because that's a lot of challenges, like a lot of mistake I see business owners do, right? Because you want to meet up with the grants. That's one. So let me take on the loan part. So loan looks very fast, right, to get once all your paperwork is clear. But another mistake now is loan can actually choke your cash flow, because if you don't even understand the stage at which your business is, your revenue cycle, right? Most people, most founders, they often like misapply for the wrong type of support. This is now without grants or loan, but still on the loan side, you are running an operation of ~1 million on a monthly basis, right? And your profit margin is 25%. So that 25% amounts to roughly 250,000 naira. Then you see a loan of maybe 10 million, 20 million. You know your cash flow monthly is roughly ~1 million naira. I don't see any reason why you should go and do 100x of your cash flow in terms of loan, wherein your payment cycle it's roughly ~1 million naira every month. That's a very, very bad decision. And people just jump at loan because they also kind of see it as a free money. And whereas on the long run, it gets to choke them. Loan is not free money. Loan is, you've seen maybe, say for example, you've seen an expansion plan. You've seen that, oh, if I'm selling biscuits at 2 naira, if I see extra 2 naira to sell more biscuits based on the demand, I'll be able to make extra 1 naira. So you have to sit down and do your maths properly. That when you're getting that extra 2 naira, right, the money you'll be making in terms of profits must be enough to cover the loan repayments on whatever tenure they give you, right? And also still have enough for you as profits for running your business. That's one. Then another two mistake that people do is they jump at loan without understanding the terms and condition of the loan, or especially they don't even care more of the what's it called, the interest rate of the loan. Maybe because they are under pressure. Whenever you're under pressure, I don't think the best approach is to take a loan, because at that point you can fall victim of loan sharks. So there are people they call loan sharks. These are people that they will want to take your kidney and your liver just because they want to give you a loan, right? And there are a lot of them out there in the markets, because I believe, they are working better. I see a new draft by the FCCPC, right, to regulate the ecosystem, but there are still a lot of loan shark out there that if you're not careful, you go and fall into those wrong type of support, right? It will choke you, because on the long run, you start seeing that you're paying double of the amount you borrowed in just a period of 4 months, 6 months, right? So you want to ensure you get all the terms and conditions of whatever loan or debt funding that you're going for, to now calculate it and match it up with your operating cash flow to see, right, that it's the best facility for you and you can comfortably pay without stress. Yeah, I'll put it post there.
Okay, so also, is it possible and is it advisable to combine grants and loans when it comes to funding? So, should a business focus on just grants, or should they focus on just loans based on the differences you've mentioned and based on your explanation so far? Or is it possible and advisable to combine both grants and loans?
Yeah, so it's possible to combine both of them. I know a couple of fellow co-founders, fellow founders, that they've raised a ton load of grants, right? And also a mixture of debt. So when I say debt, I'm still talking about loan. So the question is, which is maybe one preferred, or which one should you go for? So if you already have a predictable revenue, right? You've confirmed purchase order, you've seen demands of of your service. Say, for instance, you're running a manufacturing business and you need fund to fulfill a contract. So loan is actually a smarter choice, right? Because you can repay the loan from your receivables. So, but if you have pre-revenue, you're still building an MVP, or you are doing something very strong on the social or community impact. Say, for example, you are building an agri-tech platform for smallholders farmer, right? Then grant is your best bet. Say, for example, like I mentioned, the TEF grants that gives 5K, that is non-repayable, right, to early stage founders. So they target people that are pre-revenue, they're still building an MVP, they are community driven, social driven, right, community impact, right? So that's where grants falls into your purview. But say, for example, you already have purchasing order, you already have a LOI, that's letter of interest, you've seen a demand, someone wants to host an event and they say you come and supply them this, they say you supply, maybe, I mean, we do a lot of wedding in Nigeria. They want to do wedding and they say you supply them the drink for like 10,000 people or whatnot, right? Or chairs and whatnot. Then you can use loan because you already have a predicted revenue in sight, or you already have even revenue coming in. Then you can go for loan. So those are like, then you can mix both of them. Just like, say, for example, you're in an agri-tech platform, so you can use both loan and grants together at the same time.
I'm sure everyone is learning something new. So please, if you have any questions while we're still speaking, kindly leave them in the chat. And once I am done with my own questions for David, I'll definitely get to that. So what advice would you give to first-time founders? I mean, to be honest, I think that this conversation about loans and funding in general is something that most people don't talk about, even if they don't really understand it. So what advice would you give to first-time founders on how to navigate funding options?
Okay, so I think I mentored quite a number of startups a lot of time, and I get this question most time. And over time, I think from experience and also watching other people build, one thing I've realized is, or one major advice I start with is, I advise everybody to start small and start clean. When I say start small is relative. So start small is based on your capacity. So some people starting small can be $1 million, and some people starting small can be 10,000 naira. So, but nonetheless, based on your capacity, start small and start clean. So when you're starting clean, that means you want to understand the unit economy of your business. You want to take your accounting very serious. You want to know if I put in 20,000 every month into this activity, how much am I going to get back? Even if I'm not making profit, if I'm not eating cash, if I'm not eating positive cash flow, right? The question is, at what point am I going to break even? That means at what point will I start making positive cash flow to be on the positive EBITDA? So you want to like understand the unit economy of your business. Then I also advise that they don't take debt for validation. So you don't understand the market, you're still thinking on what you want to build, it's still an idea form. I advise you not to go for debt to validate. So it's after you've validated your business or your idea or what you're trying to do, then you can now further for debt. So on the validation stage, you should look for grants of friends and family first, right? Then you want to build a record of paying small obligation on time, wherein you are keeping your books clean, right? So you don't want to also go and take funding that is bigger than what you can service. So start small, pay back on time, build your books, right? And only take bigger loans once you've proven recurring revenue. So it's not that because today you eat maybe a spike in revenue, you now believe, oh, you are ready to go and take big loan to now expand. Nah, it's a bobby trap. So you want to ensure emphasis on the word recurring revenue, preferably minimum of 3 to 4 months. So you want to ensure that this revenue, it's coming in steady. So say, for example, you're already making 500K every month as revenue. So, and say all of a sudden you make 2 million in a month. So you don't now say because you made 2 million in 1 month, you now go and take a funding that matches that 2 million. You wait for at least 3 to 4 months to ensure that that 2 million, right, or that spike is recurring and is stable. Then you can now basically, what's it called, go for whatever grants, for whatever loan it is. So those are like pretty advice I give founders, business owners, especially when they just want to start as the first time. So in summary, you, like I said, start small, keep it clean, right? And do not take debt for validation, especially when you've not validated your business or you've not gotten product market fit. Don't take debt. Yeah.
I love the fact that, everything is broken down into like very tiny bits. And even someone that has not really, studied or known much about funding can understand everything you're saying. Someone like me. But but it's really, really great to see that. So my final question from my end before we get to, any other question from the audience would be, if you had like one golden rule for choosing between grants and loans, what would it be?
I think that's what we started with. And I would say match the money to the purpose. That's like a golden rule. So if your project can generate cash to repay, like if your products cannot generate money to repay loan, don't even bother going for loan. Don't borrow, just go for grants. So you're matching the money to the purpose. Then if it generates reliable cash, recurring revenue, right? Don't wait for grants, because grants will take time. It will stress you. It will make you lose focus on even the business if you're not careful, because you start chasing this to this to this to this, and there are numerous number of grants where you now forget that you're even running a business. I've seen a couple of other friends, right, that run their business. They actually even employ someone specifically to go and do grant application and grant scouting and application, because that one on its own is a lot of work. So you as a business owner, right, if you're at the stage where your business is generating reliable cash, you don't want to wait for grants. You don't want to spend your time and your resources there. So basically just go and borrow, repay, and grow. So see the cycle. You borrow, you repay, and you grow. So repay, emphasis on repay. Let's will come after you with through the Africa. So emphasis on repay, right? So the golden rule, right? Just match the money with the purpose or to the purpose, and you're very good to go.
Yeah, I think that's a very simple take home for everyone. Match the money to the purpose. So if you don't take anything from what David has said today, let that register. It's very simple to stick. So match the money to the purpose. Whenever you need to, get a grant, apply for a loan, whatever it is, whatever funding option you want to go for, just always match the money to the purpose. All right. So let's see if you have any questions. Please leave it in the chat. It's be the perfect time to ask your questions. Trying to see if I have any question from anybody. Okay. No questions for now, but David, do you have, any final words for us before, we close out for it? Thank you so much for giving us very detailed information about funding. Like I said, I feel like it's something that is very important and most people do not talk about. Most people don't know, and a lot of people do not talk about it. But you've broken it down in like very detailed and simple ways for everybody to understand. So thank you so much. We're really glad to have you on the show today. I'm looking forward to hosting you once again sometime in the future. I hope you, when we call on you, you definitely answer us. But thank you. Do you have any final words for our audience?
Yeah. So I mean, funding is a very important thing, and a lot of people think funding as, when it comes to funding, right? It's a rocket science. It's not. It's simple Excel sheets where you just where you record all your cash flow. Otherwise, if you don't even have access to the sheet, you can just use your paper and write receivables. How much is coming in? How much are you spending? How much are you making? You want to like keep your books clean, because these are things that would help you determine what stage you are and whether it's loan you want to go for or it's grants you want to go for. And also, one thing that I advise founders or business owners to do is your core business, right? Check it out on the SDG goal. Find out what aspect are you playing there. So it even gives you clarity and it gives you strength when you're applying for grants. That's if you want to go for grants, right? Because there's, I mean, it's like a standard rule. There's the 9 SDG goals. So once, is it 9 or 12? Sorry, 12. Once you can't plug into any of them. So when you're applying for grants, you just be leveraging that as a baseline to like project yourself and sell yourself. So in final words, anybody that is going for loans, be pay. I can't overemphasize on that. Don't take loan, I'll choke you. Because in conclusion, right, there is also this notion about what I think it's changing already in Africa, that people still loan as debts. In Yoruba, what they call it BC, and it looks like a bad thing. I mean, I'm an advocate of credit, right? Or access to credit. Credit is not a bad thing. Credit is actually needed to like grow the economy. It's needed to improve the way of living of people generally. So, however, the right approach to good credit, it's very, very, very good, as against people just bastardizing credits. So I would expect everybody to like take it upon themselves to be financially up to date when it comes to credits, especially good credits, how to like take good credits, make use of it, use it to grow your business. Because on the long run, imagine if you're doing business with just a millionaire and you can employ just 2 people. Because what I'm just trying to say is think of the bigger picture. So you are doing business and you are employing just 2 people with a cash flow of a millionaire. And imagine you're now taking a loan of maybe 2 million naira plus your 1 million, that's 3 million. Now you can employ 5 people. Now you can make more money. So you are contributing back to the society, right? So it's interesting to see how much access to credit can do, apart from you just making money. That means now you are already an employer of labor. You are helping whatever government it is in your own, you're helping mankind in your own way. So yeah, on that final note, thank you very much. It's actually great to be here. I'm looking forward to having more sessions with you. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, David. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining in today. I'm sure you've learned a lot from David when it comes to funding for your business. Even if you don't have one now, whenever you're ready to start, you know what to do, what to look out for. And so our small business owners, founders, and the rest of them, you also know what to look out for when it comes to funding. So I hope you don't just go home and throw away everything you've learned today. Keep it, and I'm sure it's definitely going to help you. Once again, thank you so much for joining. My name is Clara, and it's been a pleasure hosting this section of Tech Talk Live. See you in the next one. Thank you so much, David, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.